Is that the PC that you have? You know, is your PC that amazing?
Yes, it's actually better. It's actually better.
By the way, we're halfway through December. Did everybody that said they could build a $700 PC that would be stronger than the PS5 Pro, have they uploaded their videos yet? I haven't seen them. I wonder why they haven't done that.
No fucking way. No fucking way.
Because it's already been proven the PS5 Pro is a scam by Mark Cerny himself.
Alex, let me stop you there, my guy. Ugh, do you know what, Alex? I'm going to fix this. I'll take this over. Reforge, my little chummy chum, my furry little bollock. Please pay attention. All I want is for you to be like your hair, at attention whilst I talk you through how to make a 700. We're not even going dollars, right? I need you to take account that I am using pounds here, and the prices that you see are VAT included. Okay, so £700 is a PS5 Pro in the UK. So let's go on to part picker. So I have a system laid out here. Now look, all you AMD fanboys, I get it, right? And yes, you could get close to this with an AMD system, but at the end of the day, I could not, under any circumstances, create a 32 gigabyte DDR5 system for where the CPU, the motherboard, and the RAM all cost me what, 270 quid all in. So we have a 12400F. Yes. And before you say it, Reforge, before you go, but last time I checked, 8 cores is more cores than 6 cores. Yeah, it is, but this 6-core CPU runs rings around the 8-core CPU in the PS5 Pro. Let me bring up to account. So we're saying, I'm going to be generous and say it's a 3700X, right? That's an 8-core AMD CPU. Understand that these testing that they're showing here and all these benchmarks and stuff will be done with a superior cooler on said 3700X, not some laptop cooling or any of the power limitations that are going to come with the PlayStation. However, we're just going to go with raw performance against raw performance. And a 3700X, which is an 8-core, 16-thread AMD CPU, we're going to bench it right up against this 12400F, which, because of it deals with PCIe 5 and stuff, it's got a wider bandwidth and so on and so forth. So that obviously works in its favour. But on performance-wise, we're going to just look at the averages here. We're just going to look at the averages here, Reforge. We're just going to look at the averages. As you can see, on single-core performance, which is still has its place in gaming. It still has its place in gaming. On single-core performance, the 12400F performs 25% on average more powerful, better than the 3700X. So single core, it's more powerful. Multi-core, on average, there is, 3% difference between these CPUs? Yes, those 6 cores on that Intel CPU is basically keeping up with 8 cores on the AMD CPU, which is what basically the rough power output of the PS5 Pro CPU. And that's me being generous with a 3700X. It's more somewhere between a 2700X and a 3700X, but either way, I'm being generous. This CPU matches that CPU for its power. Right, moving on. We have a motherboard which can support two M.2 slots and supports DDR5. We have 32 gigabytes of DDR5 Reforge in comparison to the 2 gigabytes on the PS5 Pro. Last time I checked, 32 gigabytes is definitely better than 2 gigabytes. And they're also running at 6000 CL30, so it's a 10 nanosecond kit of RAM, so pretty decent speed to it as well. We've got a 1 terabyte P3 M.2 NVMe. It's only a 1 terabyte, but keeping the price down. And it's not like you can't add extra memory at any given moment. For starters, the motherboard I have picked, being a B series rather than the A series, it supports more than one M.2, so you can just literally just screw it in. You don't even have to remove the old one out or flash it or any of that sort of thing. So that's your storage. You've got 1 terabyte of storage on there. You know, if you wanted to add a stand to that PS5 Pro, you could probably step that 1 terabyte of storage up to 2 terabytes of storage on that one M.2. But we're keeping the price down. The graphics card, I've gone with the B580. Why? Because it's 270 quid and it performs 25% more powerful than the 4060. Can be like 15 in times. Now, the GPU in the PS5 Pro is supposed to be roughly around the 7700, right? Now the 7700, as you can see here, is 28% more powerful than the B580. On paper, in a perfect world, and you need to also understand that that 7700 XT on this listing here is a desktop card, which means it has dedicated cooling and full power being forced to it. Whereas on a PS5 Pro, it's going to have laptop style cooling, so not as powerful because it can't go as hard because it can't cool it as well, and also power limitations because the PlayStation's not going to pump 200 odd watts into that GPU die. On top of all that, that GPU on the PS5 Pro has to share a die with the CPU, which then limits it even further. But even if we don't even look at that, right, this B580 is basically performing roughly around the same. The difference between this and a 7700X is like 20 to 25 FPS more at best, 5 FPS at worst. And also one last little touch, Reforge. When you put RT on this card, in comparison to the 7700 XT, this card starts performing better than the AMD card. So for me, the B580 is a no-brainer if you want to match the PS5 Pro for performance. And one last touch, because it's a B580, one last aspect of the whole thing is that the XeSS, or basically the onboard XMX, is far superior to PISA. PISA is just not as good as XeSS when it's being played on an AMD card. So it's definitely not as good as XMX when it's on an Intel card. So it's got a better upscaler, it's just as powerful, and the whole system with a case, 850 watt power supply, which is total overkill. So it's basically that power supply, that whole thing is ready so that if you wanted to, you could throw a bigger CPU in on that, you could throw a bigger GPU in there, power's there, the CPU's there, it can run a more powerful GPU than this. And I've included a case, and all of this, Reforge, all of it, £715 delivered. That's VAT included, Reforge. That's all of it included. And I'm playing games just at the same fidelity and at the same speed, and probably because it's on PC, higher frame rates than you are on your PS5 Pro. And the advantage I've got, if I want to, I can sell that GPU, swap it for a bigger GPU. If you were going to put a stand, say, on your PS5 Pro, if you're going to buy the stand, then I could take that, 30 quid on top, so 730 quid. I'd probably throw an extra 20 quid onto that and swap that 12400F for the 12600K. And then it's just far better. So to answer your point, No one needs to build this system to show you this. All they need to do is show you that the hardware is available for the price. And in the UK, we don't get the same deals that you do when it comes to tech. And we're still getting a super deal. This is a £715 system. All VAT included, all delivered to my house, and it's going to perform on par with the PS5 Pro. At least on par. At least on par. And it's a whole lot easier for anyone that's got this to upgrade. You see, none of these will have to pay a subscription charge to be able to use their games online. They have access to hundreds of thousands of games available to them of all different genres from all different walks of life. Whether you like it or not, PCMR is just better. It's just better. I mean, I don't know why I'm even arguing this. This is literally coming from a guy who called his coffee Reforge coffee. Do you not understand that that just makes it look like someone has already drank your coffee and you're just recycling it? How do you reforge coffee? How? How? Reforge, open your fucking eyes. Alex, you're freaking awesome. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you, bye.